Hey everybody, we're going to use this video to talk about our end of the year projects, which is basically to develop your own video game, board game, or card game. It's going to be a big part of our grade for the year, depending on what our advice is from administration about how we're going to grade things. Traditionally, this particular project would count as 1/5 of your grade, so 20% of your grade. It would count the same as any other marking period, so it's a fairly major project. And I'm saying that not to intimidate you or freak you out in any way. The main reason is just so that you'll give it the amount of attention to detail and completeness that it deserves for such a big project. If you've been following along, if you've been trying out different ideas at home, I know every one of you loves games, so thinking about how games are made and what works, what doesn't, what you like, what you don't like, all of those things are going to come into play as you work on figuring out your own version of a game. So what do we need to do? First of all, you got to develop a game of your own. It can be any category you want: card game, board game, video game, whatever. But it has to be your own game. If you're doing a card game, for example, you can't just grab some sort of playing cards that you already have and just develop new rules. You can't come up with a new version of poker, for example. You have to come up with something fresh, something that's directly from you. So think about games like Uno, for example, that have their own set of cards that aren't a deck of playing cards, but come up with your own style, your own look, whatever the cards might look like, whatever they might do. It all comes from you. If you're doing a card game and it's something like Magic or Pokemon, where there are characters and scenarios and strengths and weaknesses all built in, that all comes from you too. But every part of the game has to be unique to you. So don't just take something that already exists and make changes to it. Develop something from scratch. One of the things you're going to have to do to start off is to create a mood board. That will design the look and feel of your game. So whether you want to use the mood board that you already developed a couple weeks ago, or you're going to develop something new that doesn't have anything to do with that mood board, you have to create one. You can do the same thing you did before, where you either create a physical mood board that has cut out pictures or printouts, different objects that are all part of this overall theme for your game, and then take a picture of it, or you can collect files from around the internet, different color schemes, pictures, anything like that, and submit those. As you're doing that, you're going to then take those ideas and design the actual pieces of the game, whether it's the cards, the board, the game pieces, characters or environment, any of the things that are visual in the components of the game. Make sure those are designed and created. Now, I know we have limitations. Not everybody has Photoshop. Not everybody is a great artist, but do the best you can. I'm going to be grading based on the creativity of the idea, not necessarily the artistic abilities of the people that are creating the games. So don't feel intimidated by that either. As you're developing the design and look of the entire game, you're also going to be writing the various rules and the design structure. So one of the things you're going to have to do is figure out how the game is played. Who goes first? Who goes next? Is it teams or individuals? All the different pieces that we talked about with the aspects of a game. What are the advantages, disadvantages, points, goals, everything. So that you have a complete set of understandings so that any player can pick up your game, understand how to play, and go with it. Throughout this process, you're also going to get feedback from playtesters. What you want to do is ask your family, your friends, various people around you that you could get some honest feedback from. They don't just say like, yeah, it was great, or I liked it, but actually talk about what worked, what didn't work, what was kind of confusing, where did the game kind of slow down, or where did it get too quick and it was hard to keep up. What are all the things that could make your game better? So throughout the process, maybe once or twice, get some feedback from people, and then make sure you're keeping track of what they're saying to you too. And then once you get that feedback, I want you to make some changes so that your game can constantly improve. It adds polish to it. It adds more depth to it. It adds something that makes it more complete. Now, as you're working on this, there are some things to turn in. Today is May 11th, and the last day of school, potentially, if it follows anything like their original schedule, is going to be around Friday, June 12th. But we don't know that for sure yet, so that might change. But when that day arrives, there's not just one assignment for this project that is due. I've broken down the entire assignment into 5 different parts, so kind of sub-assignments. So it's all still part of the one project, the one game, but you're going to be turning in multiple pieces of it in order to make a complete assignment. And the reason I'm doing this is to help you stay organized too, because I know with a whole long list of different things that might be due, within one assignment, it can get kind of intimidating. It's easy to miss something. So I'm going to break it down for you so that you can turn things in completely. So first off, the mood board. Same as last time when we had it as just a regular weekly assignment. You have to turn in either a picture of your mood board or several files that make up your mood board. If you turned it in already, you're going to use the same mood board. Just download those files and re-upload them into the new assignment. You're going to have a document that talks about your rules and your instructions for the game. Now, I don't want just a straight, Google Doc with just text on there. Dress it up a little bit. Design as best you can using the font weight, font size, color, different fonts. Organize it as best you can. You could even set up the rules in Google Slides to make things a little bit more interesting to look at. But submit your rules and instructions. Depending on your choice of game, I want you to send pictures or files that make up the cards, board, pieces, etc. of your game. Or if you make a video game, I need a link to that so that I can actually look and see what it is that you created. Remember I talked about different playtesters and their feedback? I want you to document what they say. Write down their feedback, and then also write down how you actually use their feedback. If they said that a part was confusing, how did you address that? How did you make it less confusing? If you played it over and over again and the same person was always winning because their character or their different advantage was too much of an advantage, how did you address it so that it became more fair? And then at the end, I want you to provide an honest analysis or reflection of your game and how that process went. As you're working on it, keep notes of what you're doing, what makes sense, what didn't make sense, so that as you're going, you can then reflect back easily and just say, okay, when I was doing the mood board, this worked. When maybe this one didn't. I didn't end up using this piece. Or as I was developing the rules, this is how it went at first, but then this rule over here, it didn't seem to be used at all. I didn't find a way to make that work. So I took it out. But make it more than just oh, it went great. Or it was okay. I liked it. Actually give me a few sentences, maybe even a couple paragraphs of just writing down what it is that worked, what you would do differently, and maybe what some of your limitations were. Or if something kind of came out and you discovered it and it made everything look really cool, talk about that too. So like I said, this is all going to be due on Friday, June 12th. These 5 assignments are going to be separate assignments that are all going to come together for the one project, and you'll be able to see this in Google Classroom shortly. If you have any questions, you need some feedback or some help, definitely get in touch with me. Mrs. Davis has also agreed to and offered to be a playtester and also to walk you through the different steps of the project so that you can kind of get some clarity. She's outside of the process enough that she's a great resource to have to help you to understand, get feedback without being the person responsible for grading it. So, she's outside enough that you might feel a little more comfortable talking to her. But use whatever resources you have. Me, Mrs. Davis, your friends, each other. Make sure that what you create is something that is unique to you, and it's, first and foremost, at the end, it's creative and it's playable. Remember, this is a first draft. This is a prototype phase. We're not going to have anything that is like fully marketable, consumer or production ready. It's something that is playable and able to really show what it is that you're made of, what it is your imagination and creativity can create. So, good luck with it. And if you have any questions along the way, reach out and let's have some fun with this.